The Miller's story *. My father, a man who was never inclined to mysticism and superstition, told me this story. However, his eyes flashed with horror when he began to tell about what happened in our farm. His recollections involuntarily brought to mind all the rumors and creepy legends that fill these places. So, here is what I know about Vasya the Miller. Vasily, as his real name was, had long lived nearby, in an old house with a mill on the river bank. He was an ordinary miller, a hard-working man, but there were always ambiguous rumors about his wife. They said that she possessed secret knowledge, a kind of witchcraft that frightened the locals. Someone said that she could talk to spirits, someone tried to convince everyone that she really was a witch. In our village, people tended to believe in such things, and perhaps this is what added an eerie aura to their lives. However, be that as it may, tragedy struck. One day his wife fell ill and soon died. This loss was unbearable for Vasya, but he soon discovered that her spirit had not left this world. At night, when Vasya went to bed, he constantly heard strange sounds, chilling the soul. First quiet rustling in the kitchen, then the sounds of falling dishes. With each subsequent evening it only got worse, until one day he woke up with the feeling that someone was standing at his bed. Unable to bear it any longer, he decided to turn to the priest. The old priest, having listened to Vasya, looked at him with pity. On his face there was an expression that seemed ambiguous to Vasya, a mixture of sympathy and fear. He recommended a simple but cruel solution. Find an aspen tree, whittle a stake and drive it into the head of his wife's grave. This was supposed to stop all the strangeness and bring peace back. The next night, scared but determined, Vasya went to the cemetery. The moon was shining brightly, and a chinchilla of fog enveloped the expanses. With every step, his heart pounded like never before, but when he reached the grave, he felt that someone was standing behind him. At that moment, he turned around and saw a shadow whose outline resembled his late wife. Her eyes sparkled, and her lips curved into a smile that did not bode well. Filled with horror, Vasya drove a stake into the ground. As soon as the tip touched the ground, a deafening scream rang out in the air, vibrating in his ears like a harbinger of something terrible. Turning around, he saw the shadow disappear, but the sounds did not subside. It seemed that the spirit of his wife had found its witness and would never let him go. Since he had done what he had to do, the place had quieted down. The previous terrible nights were over, but soon other strange things began to happen in the farmstead. It was said that Vasya's plea had caused not only his release from the ghost, but also the awakening of something darker. Every night the village began to hear terrifying sounds that made their skin crawl. Footsteps in the night, noises as if someone was eating from pots, and cold breezes that made the hair on the back of their necks stand up. Year after year, Vasya the Miller, although he grew older with each passing year, often found traces of the unknown on his doorstep. The tree from which he had whittled the stake seemed to have become a magnet for all the horrors of our village. From time to time, locals saw shadowy creatures wandering near the mill, and inhuman screams were heard through the calm of the night. Many years passed, and eventually Vasily lived to a ripe old age, to 90 years old, as my father said, having survived many horrors. People calmed down again and began to forget about that terrible story, but Vasily did not forget. In his dreams, his wife still appeared to him, but now she was not sweet, but evil, with bright, burning eyes, full of hatred and condemnation. Even when he passed away, rumors followed him about the mill, about the lost soul that did not want to go to another world under any circumstances. And so, the story of the ancient miller remains in our farmstead as a warning. Sometimes it is better to leave alone what should not be touched, because spirits, like people, can keep their grievances for a very long time, and the retribution for them always comes at the most inopportune moment.